Dear students of first MA English, Girish Karnad Tughlaq is a drama prescribed for you for detailed study in a new literature paper. Now, let us analyze the salient features of Girish Karnad's drama Tughlaq. First, it is said that drama is the weakest area in Indian writing in English. When compared to the vast output of novels, short stories, poems, only a few dramas were written by Indians in English. Why? Two critics, Paul Varghese and K.R. Srinivasa Iyengar, say that English drama, when enacted on the stage, appears to be artificial. These critics say English is not the natural medium of conversation in our everyday life. We do not talk in English all the time with our friends, relatives, brothers and sisters. So, an English drama can gather only limited audience consisting of academicians and intellectuals. So, linguistic barrier is the cause for the unpopularity of Indian dramas in English. So, English drama appears to be artificial, unnatural and unrealistic. But this is not 100% true. Rabindranath Tagore wrote his plays in Bengali language. Later on he translated them into English. Tagore's plays are successful on the stage. He overcame the linguistic barrier by introducing great amount of Indianness in his plays. Themes are Indian themes, characters are Indian characters, characters are chosen from the low life. So audience can very easily understand the dialogue. But the dialogue alone is not everything in a drama. Man may talk for 1 hour without conveying any sense, but a character, by a mere look, by a mere change of facial expression, by a mere wink of an eye, thousands of ideas could be conveyed. This is what Rabindranath Tagore did. So Tagore's plays are successful on the stage. One reason why Indian dramatists failed is this, that the Indian dramatists tried to mold their dramas in the age-old Shakespearean model. They tried to imitate Shakespeare, so they miserably failed. Coming exactly to the drama, Girish Karnad Tughlaq. This is the only one historical drama in Indian writing in English. We do not have any other historical play. The only other drama we can think of is Gurcharan Das Larin's Sahib. Even Gurcharan Das Larin Sahib is not 100% or out and out a historical drama. It is more a chronicle play. A chronicle play is a presentation of facts and figures alone. But a historical drama is an imaginative reconstruction of the past historical facts. Girish Karnad Tughlaq is a dramatic revivification of the past historical events. It is a blending of fact and fiction, imagination and reality. Some critics compare the 20 years rule of Tughlaq with the 20 years rule of Jawaharlal Nehru. But this comparison is not very sound. It is rather insubstantial. Both rulers wanted to convert their kingdom into heaven, but in their attempt they brought down only hell. They began to rule with great idealism, but ended in disillusionment, disappointment, and devastation. This comparison breaks down in many places. And the introduction of the drama, Girish Karnad says, it is a story of a tremendously capable man going into pieces. It is true, the drama tells us how history was created by one individual who was extraordinarily brilliant, far-seeing, whimsical, at same time unpredictably impulsive. It is also a story of insane Tughlaq. Tughlaq's insanity is seen first in shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad and again from Daulatabad to Delhi. Many people died on the way. He makes an announcement. Later this year, the capital of my empire will be moved from Delhi to Daulatabad. Those who have faith in me may accompany me. It is only an invitation, not an order. It appears that he is very generous, but that is not true. In the later part of the drama, he says, not a dog should be left in Delhi. Nothing but the empty graveyard of Delhi alone will satisfy me. No wisp of smoke should be seen in the chimneys. Nothing but complete darkness alone will satisfy me. He is such a tyrant. Many people died on the way. They died of poverty. They ate burnt skins of animals. They did not know which animal skin they were eating. Girish Karnad portrays the poverty, Indian poverty in his drama. He also had in mind the deaths of hundreds of men and women during the dismemberment of India. This is what perhaps he had in mind. The major events of the drama have relevance to our times. His madness is seen in making prayer compulsory in his kingdom and then putting a ban on it and then again reviving it. It also has got relevance to our times. Tughlaq takes very hasty decisions, impulsive decisions without any forethought. What Girish Karnad had in mind is that any government implements ill-conceived schemes, ill-conceived projects at times of natural calamities. Without any forethought, hasty decisions are taken, later on they are revised, modified or sometimes cancelled. In matters relating to pattern of education, medium of education, educational policies, international policies, hair-brained decisions are taken overnight without forethought. This is what Girish Karnad had in mind when he makes prayer compulsory and puts a ban on prayer and again revives it. Thirdly, he introduced copper coins. Tughlaq says every Hindu house has become a mint. There are too many counterfeit coins, fake coins. He collected all the fake coins and during night hours he speaks to himself. He says, how can I spread my branches to the sky when the roots are yet to take hold on earth? What Girish Karnad had in mind is the counterfeit currencies that prevail in India. That Tughlaq has a tendency to kill people, exterminate families. Sheikh Imamuddin is a character, but he was very critical of Tughlaq. He sends Sheikh Imamuddin as an envoy, as a messenger to hold out the olive branch with the enemy, that is Ainul Mulk. But when Sheikh Imamuddin was nearing the battlefield, the soldiers sent with Imamuddin to assist Imamuddin began to attack Ainul Mulk. Ainul Mulk thought that Tughlaq has come for war. Sheikh Imamuddin in appearance looks exactly like Tughlaq. So Ainul Mulk, the enemy, mistook Imamuddin for Tughlaq and killed him. He thought Tughlaq is dead, so he freely entered, but Tughlaq soldiers garrowed Ainul Mulk. At one stroke, this enemy, Sheikh Imamuddin, was killed and that enemy was captured. He announces the public, when a man like him dies, it is a sin to be alive. Let us not celebrate the victory. Next murder he commits is Shihabuddin. Shihabuddin is in charge of the empire where Tughlaq often goes away for war. In his absence, the Amirs there in his kingdom, they all persuade Shihabuddin to kill Tughlaq himself. They tell various reasons why Tughlaq should be killed. One Amir says, you can't even cheat a man without having to pay tax for it. Tughlaq increased taxes several times. How can we tolerate this? Let us kill him. Another Amir gives a sound reason. He wants to weaken the Amirs, that's Muslims. He wants to weaken the Amirs. You see, we are very strong in Delhi. This is where we belong. But Daulabad is a Hindu city. We will be helpless there. Where is the need for him to shift the capital to Daulabad? He is a Muslim emperor but against Muslims. This is something which we can't tolerate. They all persuaded Shihabuddin to commit the murder. There is a Muslim saint, another priest, Sheikh Shamsuddin. He also wants Shihabuddin to commit the murder. Shihabuddin asks Shamsuddin, you are a priest, how can you ask me to do such a deed? Shamsuddin tells, how can I continue to hide in my hole when tyranny crushes the faithful into dust? He is a tyrant, he goes on killing people. How can I remain within the four walls of the mosque? So I also came forward to involve myself in the murder. So they all planned to kill Tughlaq while he is on the prayer hall. But one man objects, that is Shamsuddin objects to killing him while he is on prayer. Shihabuddin asks, does your Islam work only at prayer? You have persuaded me to do what I have sworn never to do in my life. The Lord will not mind the interrupted prayer. Shihabuddin tells Sheikh Shamsuddin, you have deviated from Quran policy. Quran does not say kill a man, but you are deviating from Quran policy. When you deviate from Quran policy, then why do you speak of prayer, all that? So they all decide to kill Tughlaq while he is on prayer. But all of a sudden, a group of Hindu soldiers enter and drag away all men, leaving Shihabuddin alone in the prayer hall. Tughlaq stood up and asked Shihabuddin, Shihabuddin, what brought you here? Why did you come here? Shihabuddin replies, these are the last words of Shihabuddin. You want to solve all the problems in a flash of a dagger, don't you? You can't solve the uprising now. You want to solve all the problems in a flash of a dagger, don't you? You can't solve the uprising now. Tughlaq committed several murders, but this is the murder which he himself commits. Tughlaq takes a dagger, runs through the body of Shihabuddin. Shihabuddin is dead, but he kicks the dead body. He kicks the dead body of Shihabuddin. He announces to the public that Shihabuddin died a martyr. There were rebels in my kingdom. The rebels were about to kill me. Shihabuddin fell over my body and he died only to save me. So he died a martyr. Another murder is someone tells your stepmother is responsible for the death of your friend. Without making any inquiry, he orders that she should be dragged out and stoned to death. Later on he tells, why should I deserve the madness? I have condemned my stepmother to death, but I am not sure she is guilty of the crime. So in this drama he kills Imamuddin, Shihabuddin, his stepmother, we are told he killed his father. So a series of murders are committed by Tughlaq. What Girish Karnad perhaps had in mind is the death of John F. Kennedy, Mahatma Gandhi, Mujib Rahman, Bhutto and many others. The world frenzy and irrationality shown in all the modern murders are spotlighted in all the murders committed in the drama. The point is, man is completely incapable of rooting out violence, attitude to revenge, it is not possible. It is impossible for one to root out violence, tendency to take revenge. This is what Girish Karnad wants to convey through this. Abuse and corruption prevail in Tughlaq's regime. There are two characters, Aziz and Azam. They are minor characters. They misuse and abuse many of the good schemes introduced by Tughlaq. Tughlaq makes an announcement that equal justice will be done for Hindus and Muslims. Already the lands of Vishnu Prasad were confiscated by Tughlaq's court. As is, he completely shaved off his beard, puts a holy thread, calls himself a Brahmin, purchased those lands, then he goes to Tughlaq. Tughlaq listened to the trial and said, you are a Hindu. The Shiva lands were taken away by Tughlaq's court, take away all lands. All lands are returned to him. He was also given a job. He was also given a compensation of 500 dinars. These two people, Aziz and Azam, they involve in robbing people. Ghiyasuddin Abbasid is a saint invited by Tughlaq to bless his empire. On the way they carry him, they rob him everything, they kill him. Aziz puts on the dress of that Ghiyasuddin Abbasid and goes to Tughlaq. The greatest irony in the drama is such a political giant, a demagogue, a tyrant, he prostrates before Aziz, mistaking him for a saint or Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. Many of the good, what Girish Karnad had in mind is, any government implements many welfare schemes at times of natural calamities like tsunami, earthquake, flood, etc. But they are often misused by middlemen like Aziz and Azam. Between the government and the common people, there are middlemen who feather their own nest, who think of developing themselves. This is what Girish Karnad had in mind when he portrays the two characters Aziz and Azam. Broadly speaking, this drama has four symbols. Rose is a symbol. He is a great lover of roses. Standing in the midst of the roses, he speaks poetry. So rose symbolizes many things, but in this drama, it symbolizes the poetic susceptibilities of Tughlaq. It also symbolizes the withering away of his great ideals. Like the petals of a rose, all his great ideals withered. That prayer is an important symbol. Prayer symbolizes his religious idealism, but that prayer is reduced to a level of mockery when he uses it as an instrument to control his people. At the deeper level, it also symbolizes man's unconscious need for divine guidance. When a man is in utter crisis, he thinks of God. All of us do not go to a temple, church or mosque every day, but at times of crisis, everyone thinks of God. That is what Tughlaq does. There is a ban on prayer. He has ordered that no one should pray, so no one is praying. He forgot his own order, but he kneels down and prays to Allah. He says, why should I deserve the madness? I have condemned my stepmother to death, but I am not sure that she is guilty of the crime. He forgot his own order. That is, every man at times of crisis thinks of God. This is what that prayer symbolizes. Another symbol is sleep. Sleep symbolizes peace. That peace eludes him from the beginning till the end. But that sleep comes to him at the end when he realizes that he alone is not mad. He thinks he alone is not mad. He equates himself with God. God creates and destroys. Tughlaq equates himself with God. One more symbol is chess. Tughlaq is a great lover of chess. The chess symbolizes political gambling. In the tantalizing political gambling, the great demagogue, astute politician like Tughlaq is checkmated by an ordinary Muslim washerman like Aziz. This historical drama turns out to be a study in psychological realism. That is, when something good is done, that is looked upon with suspicion. That is human nature. He earns the hatred of both Hindus and Muslims. By making prayer compulsory, he only earns the hatred of Muslims. They ask, we don't want any prayer, we want food. But Hindus are always suspicious of the bona fides of his intentions. When he wanted something good to the people, they always looked at him with suspicion. They thought something is behind it. They attributed some motives. An old man in the drama tells a young man, my dear young man, if Tughlaq tells me, you are a Hindu, I hate you, I will beat you, I will kill you, I am not afraid. But if Tughlaq tells me, you are a Hindu, you are also a human being, I am also a human being, you are like my brother, I am afraid. That is, Hindus are always suspicious of the bona fides of the intentions of Tughlaq. So this drama turns out to be a study in psychological realism. He suffers from one fatal flaw in his character. The greatest fatal flaw in Tughlaq is that pontification. He thinks he alone is right. He refuses to accept other man's point of view. Any drama is compared with the Shakespeare's plays. Grish Karna Tughlaq is called a tragedy. So this can be compared with the 4 major tragedies of Shakespeare. Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, Lear are called 4 major tragedies of Shakespeare. The 4 tragic heroes of these plays suffer from one weakness, that's fatal flaw in their character. It is a delay or procrastination in Hamlet. It is ambition in Macbeth. It is lack of judgment in King Lear. It is credulity in Othello. Tughlaq also suffers from such a fatal flaw. As I told you just now, he suffers from pontification. He refuses to accept other man's point of view. Tughlaq is a man of contradictions. Opposite elements meet in him. He is a man of great idealist as far as his imagination went. But he looked a dreamer and a visionary when all his ideals fell, when all his ideals withered. He is a great genius introducing copper coins, but he looks a lunatic when he speaks all alone during night hours, standing in the midst of the copper coins in his garden. He is a devout Mussalman as far as his faith and religion is concerned. But he looks a heretic when he makes a prayer as an instrument to control his people. He is a benevolent king, he is a kind-hearted king in awarding free gifts to his friends. He spent money very lavishly to his friends. But he looked a tyrant when his friends turned against him. So he is called a man of paradoxes. He is not insane. He shifts the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad because Daulatabad is the center of his vast empire. He thought he could rule very effectively if the capital is in the center. One reason. Secondly, Daulatabad is away from foreign invasion. Foreigners can't very easily invade his empire. Delhi is on the border. Foreigners may very easily invade. So he thought his empire is very safe if the capital is in Daulatabad. Thirdly, Daulatabad is a place dominated by Hindus. He wanted Hindus and Muslims to live very harmoniously. So he shifts the capital. So he is not mad. It is said he is mad because he makes prayer compulsory, puts a ban on it and revolves it. He wanted to inculcate discipline in the minds of his people. He wanted to have control over his people. So he makes a prayer compulsory. He is a genius in introducing copper coins. Introduce the copper coins only to meet out the financial crisis in his kingdom. So he is not mad. He commits murders, series of murders. The historical Tughlaq of the 14th century killed the rebel leader flayed his body, cooked his flesh with food, sent it to his wife and children. Not satisfied with this, he stuffed the skin of the man with straw and hay and exhibited it in his kingdom. He was such a tyrant. That is a tendency to kill people and exterminate families existed not only in the 14th century but continues to our present day society. What Girish Karnad had in mind is that such murders happen in any political regime. Sometimes they are obviously seen, sometimes they are not known, they happen behind the screen. This is what Girish Karnad wanted to convey. The historical Tughlaq of the 14th century caught the rebel leader Gurshasp, killed him, cooked his flesh with food and sent it to his wife and children. Not satisfied with this, he stuffed the skin of the man with straw and hay and exhibited it in his kingdom. He was such a tyrant. For all this, you may be shocked to know that Gurshasp is none other than his own sister's son. How far true that we do not know. This is what the authentic history books say. In this drama, Tughlaq kills his stepmother, his father, his brother, Shihabuddin, Sheikh Imamuddin. A series of murders are committed. As I told you earlier, the murders are very common in any political regime. Sometimes the murders are well known to the public. That's obviously known to the public. Sometimes many of the murders committed in many political regimes are not known to the people. Tughlaq commits series of murders for political reasons. Girish Karnad wrote this drama in Kannada language. Later on, he himself translated it into English. While translating, he omitted something in the original, he added something new. So his English Tughlaq may be called a transcreation, partly translation from Kannada into English, partly something new is created. So his English Tughlaq is called his transcreation. He wrote the drama not to tell us the biography, not to tell us the life history of Tughlaq. His aim was to analyze a socio-political situation in India. So this drama is considered as a satire on Indian social and political setup. The drama was written not to tell us the life history of Tughlaq.